Hey, welcome Seeyanten podcast, episode number 1, where we talk about basically anything from video games to sports to pop culture, basically anything in between, short of basically politics and religion. Right now, I'm Kyle, got my good friend Tyler here. We're going to talk about some of the popular things going on. Namely, for me right now, it's definitely the Carson Wentz rumors. I'm trying to shake those right now. As a Bears fan, it's just super anxiety causing. I'm not a big fan of Carson Wentz per se, and don't know how I feel about it. So I don't. I mean, I think Tyler, you said the other day that you see him as like almost like a Mitch Trubisky, and I can't say I disagree too much. But
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts are, he's basically the same type of quarterback. Maybe he's got maybe just a little bit better. Maybe we haven't really
yeah,
seen a lot, but definitely the same style. And not sure if that's what the team needs.
yeah. I mean, I can. It's tough because I mean, in 2017, he did. I mean, before his obviously the ACL injury, he was. I would say he was obviously. They said he was MVP favorite on track at least to be in the top 3 for MVP, and then obviously he hurt his knee, and then we all know what happened, right? Nick Foles went on and did the Philly special, and they won it all. But I would say that year he achieved like better all around like long term success than Trubisky's ever shown. Like I've never seen Mitch do anything close to that level in his career. So I would say almost like he's like a Mitch Trubisky on steroids. Like that's how I kind of feel with like a Mitch Trubisky with like some Jay Cutler mixed in. If you listen to people talk about like his personality and how he doesn't seem like he's a really good teammate. So yeah, right now I just the rumors are on Twitter just over the last hour, nothing substantial, but there's some like beat writers and stuff and some smaller writers kind of saying that there's a deal imminent that's going to basically send Carson maybe a second round pick, but then the Bears are sending the first round pick or a first round pick, I should say. I don't know if it's a 20th this year or not, or if it's a future Tariq Cohen possibly, but that seems like that's off the table now. And then of course Nick Foles, because that's the other thing I thought too was like there's no way that Carson Wentz and Nick Foles are going to be in the same room again. Like if he's not willing to, if he's not happy being around Jalen Hurts, then he's not going to be happy to like rejoin a QB room with Nick Foles in it. Obviously, when a lot of Philly fans, I'm sure, have more love for Nick Foles at this point, especially than Carson. So, I mean, obviously, any trade with them would have to include Foles, I would say. Which I mean, maybe Philly would be happy to have him back, I suppose. But yeah, I'm. It seems like it's down to the Bears and Colts, and I'm obviously I've been hoping the Colts do it because of Frank Reich, and I don't want Wentz necessarily. But I mean, I don't know. I know you're kind of a Colts fan and Saints fan as well, but I don't know how you feel about if the Colts. It seemed like there was more smoke that way for sure. And then
Yeah, the Colts. I really hope they don't do it, just because I don't. Not a big believer of Carson Wentz, so I don't want them to give up a lot of draft capital for him, just because it ain't.
yeah,
It's not going to be good for the team.
yeah,
I think they got a good team. I don't want them to have to give up a lot to get him.
right. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, yeah, there's the NFL is so full of coaches that you know that they still see talent in young players, especially quarterbacks, and there's always coaches that say, "Hey, I can fix that guy." So it's kind of you got to wonder if Reich maybe feels that way, and maybe he's telling Ballard that hey, if we can get him at a decent price that doesn't mortgage our future at all, I can definitely win with that kid type thing. I don't know.
Yeah, if they get
He
him
definitely,
cheap, I
yeah,
wouldn't give more than a second round for him, but that's
right,
just me.
yeah.
But hopefully Reich knows him, so hopefully he's not pushing too much for that.
Right. And the interesting thing too for the Bears is if it's, I mean, it's got to be, I think it's probably pretty true that the Bears are definitely at least talking to him. I think there's been enough reports from credible sources that the Bears and Colts are talking to him. I think we can say that with some certainty. But like, it's real. Another interesting dynamic is obviously Matt Nagy is super close with Peterson. And the whole narrative's been that Peterson and Wentz were split and Wentz won the political battle. And that's why obviously Peterson got fired. But now Wentz wants out too. So it's like you got to figure Nagy's talked to Peterson and picked his brain about Carson and what kind of player he is, and what kind of teammate he is, and things like that.
Right.
And if the Bears truly still pursue him, then you would assume that Peterson then gave him positive things to, positive opinions. So that being said, then that almost makes you wonder, like, well, if Peterson wasn't the problem and Carson's not the problem, then like, what's the problem in Philly? I don't know. Again, this isn't a Bears channel, but I am a Bears fan, so that's why this impacts me, or might impact me a little bit harder. But
Yeah.
I don't know. You know me. Like, if we do it and it happens, about 6.5 hours the next day after I sleep on it, I'll send you a snapshot of my Carson Wentz jersey purchase.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
You just gotta take it in and start believing. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping for Derek Carr, to be honest, and the whole Stafford trend. I mean, we can kind of branch out now to like the QB carousel, I guess, if you want, like as far as who's going to go where, and obviously that'll lead to Deshaun Watson, which is like the big domino, I guess, of the whole thing, right? The crown jewel, if you will. Not maybe counting Dak Prescott if he actually gets out of Dallas, but he has the injury, so I think Dak's still kind of a 1B to Deshaun's 1A, assuming he can recover from that injury. So, but yeah, the QB carousel, I was really hoping, and I know I've told you this, but I was really hoping for, like a Derek Carr trade. That's honestly, if I had to rank what I would want for the Bears, it would probably be trading up to the top 5, which doesn't seem like that's going to happen because the Bears front office is clearly probably, on a short leash, or trade for like a Derek Carr. I mean, of course I want Deshaun, but it's just, I don't think it's realistic. I'm not even willing to entertain it just because it costs so much. And I mean, I would give up a lot for him, but I just don't think, I'm just not letting myself get too gullible with that. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I just don't see how a team could pay more than what the Rams did for Stafford. But
Well, I mean, the thought is that the Rams basically had to send them another first round pick to take that contract, right? So
true.
nobody wanted to take that golf contract because it doesn't look good now. So Rams basically said, "Hey, we'll send you another first round pick because you're going to take him off our books, right?" I mean, they'll still have some dead money, but you know what I mean. The Lions are still going to be paying like $25 million or whatever it is a year. So, but they still kind of screwed up the QB market. Because like if Goff's worth that, then it makes you feel like Carr would be worth 2 first rounders. Wentz better not be. If the Bears sent 2 first round picks, I'd be distraught. If it's like a first and we get a second back from them because we're picking 20th, then I can kind of deal with that. At least I can reconcile that a little bit better. But not to go back to that talk, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, Deshaun, I don't think he's gonna play for the Texans again, but I don't know exactly where he's going to land per se. I mean, of course, the Jets and the Dolphins are the top 2 picks, right? The people are popular picks, I should say. But
to me, Jets make the most sense just because it has the best draft capital for it.
Yeah, they have multiple first round picks this year. Plus, they can still send them. I'm not a Darnold hater. I'm not saying he's going to like be the complete resurrection and be some elite quarterback, but I mean, would I be surprised or shocked if Darnold ends up being like a top 15 to top 20 quarterback in a couple of years in the right system? I mean, that wouldn't really shock me. Like if he went to a good environment like Indianapolis or something, I don't think it's out of the realm possibility for Darnold to like develop into like a solid starter. So if they could send Darnold plus to have that second pick, so maybe if the Texans really like Darnold, they could use that second pick on.
But
I
who's
don't
to
know.
say Houston couldn't get Darnold? Trade Darnold to the Colts for a first round pick and then draft them a quarterback at number 2.
It just depends how quick this Watson trade happens. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It has to happen before draft or before the draft.
Right.
But,
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you keep seeing reports that Houston's truly standing pat, like they're not budging. I mean, of course it's early, but I mean, you got to think there's some kind of off. If he's truly not going to play there again, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of leverage per se. I mean, obviously it helps Houston if he plays, but if he tries to sit out the season instead of play there, it's like, okay, you can do that because obviously he has a big contract, so he's going to be fine, money wise, but he still get heavy fines. And then like, what's Houston's motivation to trade him if he's just going to sit anyways? It's kind of like Le'Veon Bell at the Steelers. I know it's an elite quarterback versus a running back, but I don't know.
Never works out good for the player, it seems like.
Yeah, I'd hate to see that. That'd be bad for the NFL in general to see an elite quarterback sacrifice one of his kind of prime years just sitting on the bench. So hopefully they get him moved somewhere, but I don't know. I mean, if I'm Houston, they have to kind of obviously come to an agreement if they do decide to trade him. And it's kind of like one of those circle graphs, right? Where it's like you're going to have Deshaun's teams, you're going to have Houston's preferred teams, and then it's like which teams kind of are in that overlap, you know?
Right.
And so I would assume Houston's going to start with NFC teams. That's what my common sense at least says. And then obviously Deshaun's going to probably, I don't think Deshaun will care as much. I mean, for all I know, maybe he wants to go to the NFC, but you would think, Dolphins, you hear about the Dolphins at least and the Jets and stuff like that. But I still pick the Niners. I still think the Niners are in it. I think that would make the most sense because West Coast, Shanahan, there's never been a quarterback that looks bad under Shanahan. You could throw any no-name quarterback out there and they look at least decent just because his system and his ability to teach it is second to none. So that's kind of my pick. Like when I think about Houston not wanting to see Deshaun at all, except for, Super Bowl.
Right.
And Deshaun's location of where he wouldn't say no to. Again, obviously none of us know, but I would think he wouldn't say no to San Francisco. It just doesn't seem like he would. So, because it's a good environment, good coach, just in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So, and they could send Jimmy G back. I mean, and Jimmy G to me is not obviously some elite quarterback, but you could do a lot worse. Trust me, I know as a Chicago fan, you could do a heck of a lot worse. So, I don't know. That's kind of my pick. If I had to pick a spot right now, I would say San Francisco is for Deshaun Watson. Then I don't know when. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of if that domino does fall in the next, say, few weeks to a month, because they can make trades. Obviously, with the Stafford trade, they can make trades before the new season starts. I would say you'll see a lot of things happen from there because Gruden, I think he's been willing to move on from Derek Carr for a while, especially because Mariota now looked good in that one game, and they have I don't know if it's a 6 pick. They have a higher pick though. And Gruden just has that feeling. He's just never satisfied with the quarterback. He just seems like the type that's just, he's the type of guy that's on a date and just has eyes for another girl at the dance, constantly. That's just kind of how Gruden is. And for some reason, Gruden got this like perception of being some QB whisperer. And I really don't get that other than having his little QB school thing he had a while back, when he'd sit the guys down and
Monday Night Football.
or he'd educate them or grill them or whatever, but I can't think of many quarterbacks that have like really, truly, I don't know. He was out of the game for a long time too. So maybe my memory's just letting me down. The last thing I remember is him winning a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson in Tampa Bay and then not doing much else after that with whoever the quarterbacks were.
Yeah.
Gradkowski.
Yeah. I know he had Rich Gannon a little bit in Oakland before he left there.
Yeah.
I believe. But
that you got to figure that's how he knew to beat Oakland, right? In that Super Bowl. Because he knew exactly what Rich Gannon's weakness. He knew exactly the ins and outs of that team. So
I believe when he first got there, he wasn't entirely sold on David Carr. I believe he made that announcement or something about that they could do other options.
Yeah, he's a big believer in competition at every position, unless you have
job safe, I guess.
Yeah, kind of keeping that edge, keeping everybody on edge, I should say. Yeah, I mean that's good to a degree, right? But quarterback's a special spot where it's like, man, I mean, you obviously need to be good at the spot, if not great in today's NFL, but like you can't. I know some people will say, oh, if you're an elite quarterback, then you don't need to worry about looking over your shoulder. Like it won't bother you to have somebody on your heels, right? Because if you can handle that pressure. At the same time, it's like I still think Derek Carr is I think he's easily top 15. I think if he's in the right environment with the support and everything, I think he's like a top 12 or top 10 quarterback. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that's not elite. Elite's like top 5, right? Or I guess basically the AFC is all elite almost now. But I think Derek Carr. That's why my personal preference is for either trade the top 10 or 5 for the Bears to get one of those young studs, which won't happen because of the situation the front office is in, or a trade for Derek Carr. But Sounds like we're getting Carson Wentz. So,
Yeah.
but
Not to talk about the Saints, but I read word I think they're wanting to keep James Winston.
well, I mean,
so I'm kind of torn with that because you're going to have two pretty well high paid quarterbacks on their roster. But
yeah,
it could
I
work.
think his talent's still really tantalizing, I guess you'd say. I mean, clearly he can score. It's just give the ball to the other team. So that was going to be the interesting thing with him. But they only have him under that 1-year contract, right? So it's kind of like if they had him under a 2-year deal, then I could see somebody wanting to trade for him just because he has that scent now of Sean Payton and Drew Brees, right? So it's like you take this quarterback that would make you drool in some instances, but then make you hit your head against a brick wall in other ones in the same, like play to play, literally, right? So now if he maybe a year under Drew and Sean to marinate a little bit, I could have seen him being a trade asset just because he would have that perception now where people forgot about the 30 interception season. All they see now or all they think of is the talent associated with the New Orleans Saints system. Because look what it did for Bridgewater. And the Panthers already want to move away from him. That's another part of the QB carousel nobody's really talking about. I mean, the Panthers are coming up a lot for Deshaun Watson, but it's like people are kind of like ignoring the fact that like, man, they're already going to move on from Teddy, and that was one of the big free agent sign. I mean, the Bears almost got him, right? And he didn't go there because it was apparent that he was going to have to compete with Trubisky. I don't know why you're afraid to compete with Mitch Trubisky, but it is what it is. So, but
it could just be a system there,
Yeah.
Bridgewater did well in New Orleans, but
right. Yeah. No,
I really wouldn't be surprised if they did a 2 quarterback throughout the whole year if they did sign them both.
Worst case, they end up with I mean, I can't see the Saints like outright sucking though. But I mean, if Jameis and Hill become like a black hole at quarterback and just the whole team just falls into them, then I could see him maybe being like a top 10 in the draft pick. But I don't know. I mean, with Sean Payton there, dude, between him knowing how to use Hill with his, gadgets and stuff, and then obviously Jameis's like raw talent that he has, like I can't see Sean Payton not finding a way to manufacture points with the weapons they have there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, I would probably just try to keep Jameis if I was New Orleans, I guess, because like, what else are you gonna do? Like, what else are you gonna get? Because I think obviously they pick later in the draft, right? And I don't think they haven't done any
7th.
Yeah.
7th or 28th, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, QB carousel.
They'd have to make a trade to get it.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't want them to do.
Don't you want to just sign Mitch Trubisky, free agent?
I'll pass.
Hey,
see what we got.
The last thing I saw, again, this is from like an NFL rumors Twitter account. I don't know how legit it is, but I started following it just because I'm thirsty for information. And I think they tweeted recently that it was like the Steelers and maybe it was the Steelers and the Patriots, maybe, or maybe I don't think it was the Saints. I don't know. I've seen him associated. He's going to get signed by somebody as a backup, obviously, which is what he is. He is the quintessential backup that can come in and, not be a suck bucket for a game or two, probably, depending on who you're playing, right? Like if it's like your tough stretch of season, then, well, sorry about your luck. But if it's like we saw it late in the Bears season, right? They were playing some scrubs, some bad teams. He can come in and operate your offense. I mean, not dominate, but, that's exactly what he is. He's a backup.
He always seems to start well and end well, but it's the meat of the season that gets.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do a whole podcast on that, but like I said, I try to make sure this channel is going to be about sports and video games in general and other random topics. But yeah, it's going to be hard for me not to delve extra into the Bears just because obviously my personal affinity for them. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I guess that kind of leads into like what the Super Bowl. I mean, my thoughts on it, basically. I think I've told you my prediction, but I just got a weird feel. I just feel like the Tampa Bay is going to do it. I can't tell you why. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and outline some like X's and O's, and get a whiteboard out and try to explain where their advantages are. maybe it might just be because, I mean, when's the last time we had a repeat champion in the NFL? I would have to look it up.
Probably
Nothing
the
recent.
Patriots.
Yeah, that's what I would assume too, because they've been in so many. But I don't even. Yeah, I mean, have they though? I mean, we don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, like it's very very rare. So it's kind of like, to me, maybe that's what's playing in my mind a little bit. It's like the Chiefs just did it. I mean, everybody wants to act like they're kind of vulnerable, but it's like, vulnerable. What they do? Like when they went like 14-2, didn't they?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, how vulnerable were they? But I mean, I just got a feeling Tampa Bay is that team that, obviously they have Tom Brady, but it's just, I feel like they're that team that's playing their best at the right time. And just a hunch, like I said, nothing more than that. It's just that's who I'm picking, but not so. I mean, I would still say it's like a 60-40. It's not like it's overwhelmingly, strong that I feel like they're going to win, but I don't know. Just got a feeling.
Yeah, I feel like, I know Kansas City, I believe, is favored, but I mean, Tampa really should be, in my opinion, just because it's in their home state.
Tampa, yeah. Of all the years though where they can't put a ton of fans, I guess they're gonna have some, right? But
yeah,
yeah,
but I mean, still, just the familiarity of the field and just
yeah,
the stadium. I mean, that has to help.
yeah.
And
It's
then,
fine.
their defense, the way they've played the past 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, it's this wonder game for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Against New
No, that
Orleans.
Vita, yeah. Whenever I saw that Vita Vea was coming back against Green Bay, I was like, I mean, I kind of thought that, of course, as being a Bears fan, I was hoping Green Bay would lose. It's, yeah, and yes, it is out of bitter jealousy. I openly admit it. So, whatever, say what you want, but what else are you gonna do? Misery loves company. When you're a Bears fan, you're miserable all the time. You gotta look for other, you don't want happy fans around you. It is what it is. So, but yeah, whenever I saw that Vita Bay was coming back, 'cause he actually got hurt the game against the Bears, where the Bears beat the Tampa Bay on that Thursday night game. Hard as that is to believe, because Nick Foles, daddy's Tom Brady every time they play. But
Foles magic.
there's a hilarious image of Nick Foles, and like somebody photoshopped like Nick Foles' face onto like a dad and then a little kid on his shoulders, like riding him. Put Tom Brady's face on the kid. So funny. But anyways, yeah, I had a strong feeling about him against Green Bay, just especially when I saw that Bay was coming back. And then when that game started, I mean, I don't watch Green Bay a lot just because, they win most of the time, and that's miserable for me. But I've seen enough of their games to know, like, there's just certain Green Bay games where, like, even though the game was close pretty much the whole way and they had their chances to definitely win it, there's just, to me at least, there's almost like a feel to games Green Bay loses where it's just like, as soon as I saw the game, and not because they went up, it wasn't because Tampa Bay went up 7-0. It's just, I don't know. I can't explain it. Just when I saw that game unfold throughout the first half, then obviously whenever that touchdown happened right before the end of the half with the broken cover, or the not broken coverage, just got beat, I was just like, this is just a game Green Bay's going to lose. Even though it got close, and then of course the fourth down play happened and stuff where they decided to kick a field goal. Even when they kicked the field goal, I was like, they're not getting the ball back.
Yeah, they haven't stopped them all games. I mean, hardly.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020. I understand that, so we can all act like geniuses right now. But like, again, not trying to act like I'm a genius, but like I just knew that, and I think a lot of people did, and that's why I got so much hate on the call. Is like, they are not going to get that ball back. Like, Tom is going to do what he does. He's not Tom's. And I know there's a lot of, he's polarizing, and what I think Tom Brady is I think he's just really good at operating a system. Whatever offense he's in, he's really good at executing an offense. Does he have some luck? Yeah, he does. I mean, a lot of people do, but he does have some luck on his way. But it just seems like in the moments he's pretty good. And he's not the flashiest. You're never gonna put the film on a Tom Brady and be like, that's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. That's not gonna happen. You'd put the film on of obviously Rodgers, now Mahomes. Thinking way back to like Dan Marino and stuff, if you want to get a little more old school, right? Like, those are guys, like, you put the film on, it's like, who's the greatest quarterback you've ever seen play? It's like, well, as far as just playing the game, it's never going to be Tom. You just have to look at his accolades, right? And that's where the divide is with the GOAT conversation, even though on paper it's undeniable, obviously. But So I think that's kind of where it's polarizing. That discussion is like, I watch him play, and the Super Bowl was picking the end zone because the Seahawks didn't run it. The Super Bowl was, I don't know how many made kicks by the field goal kicker. You know what I mean? And I get that, and that's all fair. I mean, you can't argue it. It's just he still gets there. he's in his 10th Super Bowl, dude. Like, if it was that easy, then a lot of people would do it. A lot of quarterbacks would do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, especially now that he's done it in Tampa Bay. Like, I think he proves such a point this year, going to Tampa Bay away from Bill, even though it was shaky at times. Going to Tampa and winning it, or not winning it obviously yet, but getting there away from Bill. I think it's almost like, that's why if you want him to retire, even though I don't think he will, especially based on his recent comments, if you want to retire, you just need to cheer for him to win as much as you can, because he seems like the type of guy that the more people say he's done, he can't do it anymore, you better hope it's true, because he's going to keep trying to come back and do it. Because that's exactly what this year was. It was saying, oh, and I was one of the people, I thought, Belichick was the majority of the magic there. And I still think it's pretty considerable, like as far as the split. I mean, I certainly don't take anything away from Belichick, but like I was one of those people that thought it was mainly Bill, and then Tom just executed it to the highest degree because he's so clutch. He's kind of like,
he's gained more respect this year.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I'm hoping. I mean, I don't really care, I guess, but if he wins it all in Tampa, it's like, dude, you don't have any more criticisms left, especially if he goes out there and like lights it up and he's the main reason they win, like, has a good night. It's like, just walk away. I mean, not easy for me to say, he can do whatever the hell he wants, but like, just what else do you have to prove other than wanting to win however many 7 Super Bowls or whatever it'd be? I don't know. And appear in 11. I don't know what else there is to do. So
yeah. He's amazing. I'm not at all a Brady fan, but I do have respect for his game, but he just needs to.
Dude, Michigan football ambassador, man. Come on, what are you talking about? Drew Henson, move over.
It's a curse for me, but because he always beats my favorite teams. But
yeah,
but no, I mean, I feel like they got a good chance to win. I think the Chiefs are going to win. Just me personally. But.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's fair. I mean, they're impossible to stop, basically, except for short of them having a bad night. It's like, who do you stop? They have everybody talks about Tyreek Hill, but they have so many other good receivers. And obviously they have Kelsey. It's just, and then that running back's good. It's like, and then obviously,
I believe Sammy Watkins is going to play too.
Yeah, I heard he was. Yeah. I think Antonio Brown's supposed to play too for the Tampa. But yeah, I expect it to be a really good game. I mean, of course, everybody, if you don't have a bias in the game, you just want to see a good game, right? So, and that's what I expect. I expect it to hopefully be a classic. I think that's all you can hope for when your team's not in it, unless, like I said, you have a vested interest in seeing one of them lose. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. Mahomes is something. It's so funny. The dynamic is the GOAT versus what people will argue could be the next GOAT. Because the term GOAT's almost like a generational thing. I mean, maybe Tom's transcended that now, because it's hard to imagine anybody ever matching his accomplishments. Kind of like how Michael, in the NBA, where it's like, dude, who's ever going to match what Michael did? Never losing in a finals and finals MVP 6 times, 6 for 6 in the finals. It's like, so maybe Tom's transcended that now as far as the generational GOAT discussion. But you still, even MJ is subject to it some, because now you have LeBron in that GOAT discussion, right? So it's still, it's a generational thing to me, as far as your perspective and stuff. I think it really impacts it. But Mahomes, dude, like when I was watching him play the Bills, like, because I was rooting for the Bills just because I have a soft spot for that fan base. I think they're a great fan base, but his ability, he kept on. It was almost like playing Madden, and you have an X factor where you can break at least one sack attempt, because the Bills would get somebody, they would send heat, and they would get home almost every time. And Mahomes would have a way of just getting away from that first pressure. And once he got away from that pressure, dude, when it's off schedule play, him and Rodgers, and Mahomes is younger, obviously. So I think Mahomes is already like right there with Rodgers, and that's scary because Mahomes is only like his 3rd, 4th year or whatever. So like,
Yeah.
When he's off schedule, dude, with all those weapons, dude, asking a defense to cover those weapons for 4 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds is hard enough. If they don't get Mahomes on the ground with that pressure and he's able to run, extend, it's over. Yeah. And that's where Tampa Bay has to make sure, like with Vea, they get that middle pressure, they get some edge pressure. That there's nowhere for. So, like, as soon as Mahomes evades that first guy, there's another guy right there to get him because Mahomes isn't like really, really fast. Like, yeah, he's not slow. He's not like a Nick Foles or anything like that. But he's not truly, truly, real fast. He can get away to save his life a little bit. But other than that, if you get somebody to pressure him to make him run, but you have somebody kind of sewing him in, I don't know. That's the only thing I could think Tampa, and I think Tampa can do that because with the pressure they're getting on quarterbacks here recently. But
yeah, we'll know how the game's going to go kind of within the first few drives if Tampa can get pressure and contain him to keep him in the pocket. To make him throw fairly quick, then they're going to. I'm pretty sure the Niners did that last year for about three quarters, and then in the Super Bowl last year, and then in the fourth quarter he just kind of took over the game.
Yeah. I'm expecting a high score. I certainly don't think we're going to see some defensive battle. Even though, like I said, I've been talking about how Tampa's defense is playing better. I think it's going to almost be like an arena football game, where if you recall watching those games, it was like whichever team turns it over first or turns it over more or happens to get stopped once or twice, that's the team that's going to lose. That's just how I feel like it's going to go. So it's almost like there's going to be a lot of points scored probably on both sides of the ball. Which defense is going to make a play, not necessarily even a stop, like create a turnover, that kind of thing. Because literally that turnover with how these offenses are probably going to click, I think like that turnover or two might be the difference in the game. Or who has maybe it's just who has the ball last, which I love those finishes. So
Tom has been prone to turnovers this year, so we'll see how that goes. But hopefully it's not a minute to go when Brady has the ball for the win. So
but if he wins it all, maybe he rides off into the sunset.
True, but I've been saying that for the last 10 years. But.
Yeah. All right. Well, a couple more things, and we'll wrap it up for this first episode. And then before we do, real quick, anybody that's watching, hopefully some people start watching, right? Please hit the like button if you like what you saw, and please subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe yet, you want to see what else we're going to do, what we're going to have to offer, that's totally cool. But please hit the like button, subscribe if you want, and keep an eye on the channel for more upcoming content. But yeah, so as far as other topics that I could think of real quick, just miscellaneous type things is, dude, college basketball. Again, I swore off Illinois, but my Illinois fandom, it's like a cat with 9 lives. It just comes right. I just resurrect it, and it comes back stronger every time. So
they're proving you wrong. You said they were done, and you're never going to watch them again.
That's why I do that, though. That's why I do that. I do it because I know whenever I kill that fandom in me, that it's going to just come back stronger. And here I am, and it helped them, dude. I swear, like in the last couple of games, I start in game track mode, and see how it goes. Dip my toe in the water. Today I watched it from the start. I just had a good feeling about today for some reason. I don't know why, because Wisconsin's okay. I mean, I think they're good. They're always good, but I mean, again, for anybody out there, I'm not like a huge college basketball fan. I'm pretty casual. It's like I like Illinois. As you could tell, I like pretty much all Illinois Chicago sports, but I like Illinois, and I kind of keep up with the rest. And obviously the Big Ten, I keep a little closer eye on. But to me, Wisconsin, from what I saw today, at least, it was like, man, it's a typical Wisconsin team, right? Like bigs that can really shoot, and then a scrappy, guard in the backcourt, being Trice this year. It's almost like they just have the same team makeup, and they just keep, which is great. Because I thought they
about 6 years now, so they kind of
right. Yeah, they take some recruits from, and they'll get a 2 or 3 star from Illinois and turn them into something special, like Comiskey, dude. Frank Comiskey was from Illinois, didn't even have an offer.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't
I
know.
mean, he's flamed out in the NBA, but I mean, I kind of figured that would happen. But as far as at Wisconsin, he was amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that they'd fade away pretty good once Bo Ryan walked away. But
just the culture.
yeah, Bo was amazing. But you knew when he walked off that court after losing that title game to Duke. Was it Duke he lost to in the
Yeah.
national title game? I was rooting for him really hard because he deserved it. And it's annoying to see, Duke get another one while Wisconsin's trying to win their first. But 'cause I can relate to that 05. But when he walked off that court, you could just see in his face he was defeated. Like he knew he
Right.
was never going to get back there again.
That was
And
the
sure
best.
enough, yeah. And sure enough, that following year, I think he retired mid-season because
Yeah.
it wasn't going well. So that sucked for them. But anyways, Big Ten basketball in general, man. Clearly, your Wolverines are apparently good. I'm trying to figure out they're trying to use this COVID to just sit on the regular season title and hey, just trying to be safe. Is that what's going on? Is that what we're doing?
I believe the phrase was I forget what they used, but it's for like practicing.
Yeah. And again, I'm not trying to make light of COVID. I mean, I know it's a real serious thing, so I'm not trying to make light of it. It's just, you got to wonder if they can't make up these games, right? Because the Illinois, they're supposed to play. They're supposed to play Illinois on the 11th. I don't know what other games you've had pushed out now since you're coming back on the 18th, right? Is it the 18th now?
Well, 14th. They're on track to play Wisconsin on the 14th.
Gotcha.
Sunday.
So those games that they've missed, it's like some people are saying just cancel the Big Ten tournament and just use that week to make up games. We'll see. I mean, I love the Big Ten tournament, but I mean, if that's what they have to do just to make sure they get
they moved the tournament to Indianapolis this year or here
they
recently.
did. Yeah, because everything's obviously happening in Indiana now. Yeah.
Pretty sure it's going to go on because I'm pretty sure they did that just to probably get that as a trial base and see how it's going to go.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I bet they use that as a
yeah.
As far as their makeup guy, I know if the Illinois game would be the 6th game that they've missed.
Wow.
So I don't know how they can get all those in.
That's the thing is like if they don't make up a good portion of those, it's like and they end up with less losses, but also less wins than say Illinois or Iowa, even though maybe more actually Ohio State. That Ohio State loss at Illinois does not look as bad now.
Yeah,
I mean they're looking great.
Yeah.
I mean I think they're on the 1 seed line basically now or close to, but
yeah,
it's like how that's going to be tough. Like how are you going to shake that out? Yeah, I'm Michigan deserves to have a stake in as well because of how amazing they've played thus far this season with one loss. So it's like I don't know. Hopefully they can just find a way to make up all those games to where everything's just even Steven.
Well, even if you check on the ESPN like the standings, even though Michigan's got a 1-loss record and Illinois got 3, they're only a half game up on them.
Yeah.
So I think it's because of the wins. So I think they're keeping that in mind with how many wins they have. Because really they should be up 2 games if they have a 2-loss difference.
Right.
But,
so I don't know.
Wins or
but
I
mean, I don't know math real well, but I don't think even if Illinois gets way more wins than Michigan, if Michigan doesn't lose any more games, though, I don't think think they'll ever overtake them, though. It'll become fractions of fractions of fractions.
Right. Yeah. But if Michigan could lose maybe one more game, that could. I don't know.
We were going to do that on the 11th, but you ducked out.
We'll see.
I'm just kidding. We'll see what what's his name, Dickinson.
Yeah, Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah. We'll see what he does with Kofi.
Yeah.
300-pound Jamaican.
We'll see.
I've
got some good post moves, man.
Yeah. But it'd be good. Yeah. Illinois' thing is they tend to not run the offense the way they should, in my opinion. I'm not a basketball expert, so I just outed myself as being ignorant basically with basketball. But from what I can see, they should probably dump the ball inside a lot and start the ball inside because Kofi's really hard to stop on the block. He can pretty much get there anytime he wants. And then once that starts to assert itself, the space will happen from there on the perimeter. But the Illinois guards, because, Io's really good. Trent's okay. I mean, they get caught up in wanting to kind of like cut to the basket because obviously a guard, it's prettier if a guard does a guard want to dump it down a bunch or does a guard want to slash to the bucket and get a
Right.
really good and one. So sometimes Illinois gets caught up in ignoring Kofi on the block, and it's like he's sitting there calling for it, and he's got some 6'8", 225-pound guy on his back, and it's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's me scoring on my son on a Fisher-Price goal. Like,
Right.
But
Yeah,
it seems like they're starting to get their offensive identity, which I will credit Underwood for that, even though I'm not the biggest fan. He's not the worst coach. He's way better than John Gross. We'll see if he's better than Weber, even though I don't, obviously Weber wasn't the greatest, but I'd say he's better than what people thought at the time when they fired him. But seems like maybe Underwood's starting to get through to him and making him commit to playing the game the right way. But we'll see. The Big Ten's going to be interesting. I mean, there's so many good teams. And then again, talking college basketball in general, or trying to at least, it seems like the Big Ten is definitely easily the best conference. The best two teams. Gonzaga's good. Gonzaga handled Iowa pretty good earlier in the year, but I still think Baylor's the best team in the country. I mean, they were supposed to play Gonzaga, and that game got canceled because of COVID. That would have been an amazing game, and I think Baylor would have won, but we'll hopefully find out later. But
they're very different teams on how they play. I know Baylor has amazing guards.
Dude, their defense is amazing,
and the defense, but Gonzaga scores like 100 points a game. But,
yeah.
It just kind of depends on. It can go either way on defense type of thing. But I know Baylor can score, but Gonzaga's in a league of their own on that point. But it's typical Gonzaga, though. The competition they're playing is not.
They get lulled. Yeah, they've done a better job of stacking their pre-conference as far as playing good teams, but it's almost like
the season.
Yeah, they go so long playing Pepperdine and whoever else they play that it's like they get smacked in the mouth in the tournament inevitably.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll play some small schools obviously early on in the tournament, right? Because that's the lower seeds or the higher seeds, I guess, or small teams usually. But yeah, I mean, whenever Illinois played Baylor early in the year, again, obviously teams get better as the season. Well, the good teams should, the well-coached teams should get better. But man, when Illinois played Baylor early in the year, which I think it was their first loss. Again, I know Io's definitely one of the best guards in the country, but he's really smooth, but he's not like super quick. Like he kind of, once he gets by you, even on your hip, he's pretty good at finishing because of his length. I mean, sometimes he doesn't have the strength to finish well, but he's pretty good. But I mean, that game, he couldn't even like start to turn a corner. Because you've seen Io play late in games, right? That's like what Illinois does, right? When it's time to close the game, get Io the ball, top the key, let him find a seam. Because once he slivers in there, he's super smooth and he's pretty versatile with pull-ups and, like I said, getting to the bucket with his length. At least maybe getting a foul call. Dude, he couldn't even. It almost looked like he was sick, like it's just. But it's just a credit to Baylor's perimeter defense, dude. It was amazing.
Yeah,
so.
Are really good. They play well together.
Yeah, and they're real athletic, and it's just, I don't want to see him again. I mean, at this point, I'm just hoping for like a Sweet 16 run for Illinois. But if I had to pick a national champion right now, I would say Baylor. We'll see when the brackets come out. Hopefully, I get to fill one out. I was going to get to fill one out last year. Illinois would have made it, but we all know what happened. No. I'm not that into college basketball. You know that.
But no, I really think Michigan can win it this year, man. I really do. If they get, it all depends on the brackets too. If they get a good draw, you have to get lucky in the brackets.
Yeah.
Teams have to get beat or whatever. But I just think they're so balanced. They have literally like 7 people that can start. So they're just they're well.
The talent's only getting better too. So the recruiting's fire right now, isn't it? It's really good.
Right.
Which you knew. You knew that he was going to be good with that because obviously he's the centerpiece of the Fab Five, and one of the main guys in the Fab Five. His name still does have a lot of clout, obviously in college basketball. So it's not surprising that the recruiting's picking up, and now the coaching seems like it's there too. So that's real exciting.
This year they weren't supposed to be good. I mean, they're supposed to be good. They weren't even preseason ready.
I mean, it's supposed to be Illinois or Iowa's year. Of course, here comes Michigan. Oh, hey, we're gonna be really good this year.
But But no, I mean they've got him playing well. Franz Wagner's a first round talent. Isaiah Livers is really good.
Yeah.
And then Hunter Dickinson, I knew he was going to be pretty good, but he's really exceeded expectations. And,
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, people are saying it's kind of a down year as far as the Big Ten freshman of the year race. I mean, I'd say Dickinson's a clear winner of it now. I thought maybe Adam Miller was going to be again. Clearly unbiased, but he's faded. He's just more of a guy that can hit a couple threes a game. Curbelo is really good, but he's also out of control. Like one play he'll have a brilliant assist like he had against Indiana.
Yeah.
But the next play he'll dribble way down there and just get in complete trouble and get lost and just turn it over, which he's a freshman. So hopefully he refines that over time. But yeah, again, back to the point, Michigan's definitely in there. The Big Ten has I think 3 or 4 teams you could make a solid argument. It's like they can make a Final Four, Elite 8 for sure. For sure. So it's going to be interesting to see those brackets. But yeah, other than that, man, I know this is mainly all sports talk. I mean, video game wise, we could talk a bit of video games.
Yeah,
if you want. I mean, quick touch on it
right now. It's a little.
Oh,
quiet,
you don't have a PS5?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my bad, man. My bad.
Been the fortunate ones.
How you doing? PS5. Oh, I'm petting my PS5 in case you couldn't tell.
Rubbed in.
It was complete luck. I was just sitting around, and the story. I just saw, pre-order's supposed to go on tomorrow. Huh. And then I saw a tweet. Pre-order's up now at Walmart and wherever else. I was like, I'm gonna click this link.
Who puts the pre-order out the day before when they say it's gonna be out tomorrow?
The retailers took liberty with it. So it was supposed to drop because Sony said we'll let you know. It was a big thing, like, hey, we'll give you a heads up, don't worry. And obviously they tried to, but they weren't in good lockstep with the retailers, clearly, because the retailers are just like, let's go, and hit the go button. And dude, literally, I got on Walmart.com. I tried to buy the digital one first, was out of stock, went back, put the physical one in the cart, sat there for probably literally 2 minutes, dude, just making sure my payment information was right. And then I said, all right, order. Went through like butter, which sounds completely ridiculous if you're familiar with, I know you are, with the process now of like getting in your cart and it was never really there. And it's been a joke how it's been handled.
Yeah. And I don't see how. I mean, every time you put it in your cart, it's like, oh, this website is overloaded.
Yeah. I get not wanting the crowds as far as social distancing, and that's totally cool. I think we're at the stage now where why don't you just stock it without warning people on the shelves, because people will show up enough and call enough. I mean, it's kind of how it used to be. Old school is, I remember going to the stores constantly looking for a Wii or whatever the system, right, that I was trying to find, or calling around and stuff. And so honestly, it's kind of the thrill of that hunt was kind of nice. And I kind of missed that. But, and also if you think about it, it's like your social distancing would be fine, because it's not like a drove of people are going to show up all at the same time. Like if you get 4 in to put on your shelf in a store, then those 4 probably go pretty quick, but it's going to be just, people coming in one after the other to get it.
Steady flow. If they get a steady flow of 5 or 6 a week or so, whatever.
The websites have done such a terrible job of the bots. Like, I think now, I don't know, you tell me, have you tried recently? I keep seeing on Twitter.
I tried last week.
That Wario64 is really good about tweeting it. But I think it was a couple days ago, Walmart said their stock was going to be back up. I don't know. But I mean, do they have you do like the type of phrasing now and say, I'm not a robot? Does that happen now?
No, I've never done that.
Yeah. See, and then they don't have any of those fail safes in there to where these, scalpers and stuff, you can't beat a bot. Like, you cannot order faster than a bot. So it's just a shame, but I don't think Sony or Microsoft, it doesn't appear at least that they really care, or maybe the stores don't care. I guess I should say maybe it's not the Sony or Microsoft, maybe it's more the retailers, but
no, Amazon, I think it was last week I was telling you that Amazon did have Xbox Series X. I did have that in my cart. I was about ready to push the button to buy, but I was like, well, not what I want.
Well, I don't want to bring up the Xbox PlayStation conversation. We'll probably get some heated comments for all 6 people that watch this video. But yeah, you know my feelings on that.
Yeah, no, I know. I just wanted. I'm not gonna buy nothing. It's something I don't want. But
at this point, I just want to see you in the next gen.
Yeah.
Come on in, man. The water's nice. Come on in.
I see all these games getting revamped for the PS5.
Yeah. Honestly, though, other than the excitement of having the hardware, and there's been some good games, like Spider-Man Miles Morales was great. Astro's Playroom's a great on-board, game. And, Valhalla looks great and stuff, but that's obviously a cross-gen. There's not really a substantial enough amount of software to really. I can't sit here and pound the desk and say you got to go get this PS5 or Xbox Series X now. There's just not. I mean, if you're a diehard like I know we are, and we try to get at least one of them quick, But if you're somebody that has any amount of patience, which I'm not, but if you're anybody that has the amount of patience, I can't sit here and say now's the time to get. I mean, you can't really get them if you want, anyways. But even if they were ready available and you just didn't know if you should spend the money or not, I can't honestly say now's the time to get this thing. It's great. There's so much next gen software. But
that's typical though in most next gen.
True. Yeah,
it's kind of a
right.
A bridge. Kind of.
Yeah. Now the first Christmas is all about the excitement of having the hardware. The biggest window or the biggest part of the console's launch life really is that second Christmas.
Yeah.
Because that's whenever you should have some really true next gen titles that have been developed long term for it and stuff. And because you're over the excitement of having the console, like you're happy to have it, but it's not that new shiny toy anymore. Now you're saying, hey, where's my software? Where's my games that can play for it? So
hopefully Resident Evil will be kind of the first big one coming out here. So
dude, the demo was amazing. It was short, but it was long enough to get the point across.
Did you get any kind of gameplay style, or is it going to be? Is it going more like Resident Evil 7, or is it?
Did you play RE7? Did you play?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah. So because I beat that this past year whenever I was in this whole quarantine thing. So I just sat down and got some games that I never beat and that I kind of started on, and it's similar to 7. So it's first person, which is fine because that kind of, to me, first person almost enhances the suspense. I can't tell enough from the demo of what exactly the storyline necessarily is. I know it's a continuation of 7, whereas it's
the same guy, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's continuing that story for sure. I think it might start in 7, where it's 7 started where it was almost is this an Resident Evil game, or is this just a new? I mean, it was obviously, but you know what I mean. The gameplay was different, and there wasn't any Resident Evil elements as far as the inventory management and the puzzles and stuff. But as you play that game more, it became, they added those puzzle elements came into that game. It was really cool how once you got past the first act basically of kind of setting up the game and the story, Resident Evil 7 turned into a first person old school Resident Evil game, which was really cool. It blended the two together really well. I bet that's how this one's going to be. It's going to start off just scare the brakes off of you. And I think it's going to be really good at it. And then eventually it'll be all right, you're running around, looking for this key, looking for the heart-shaped key, looking for the, in the demo, there was already a part where you try to you have to find an eyeball to go into this door to open the door. So so it's going to
I really like that stuff. I mean, that's just classic Resident Evil. So.
Yeah. As long as they don't bring back ink ribbons for the typewriter, I'm good. Saving the typewriter's fine. Don't make me have to get ink ribbons. That part is stupid.
I did read.
Go ahead.
No, I did read an article where it was kind of a lot of similarities to Resident Evil 4 with the inventory management, and I guess there is a weapons guy that you can buy stuff off of that you can see.
The Resident Evil 4 guy.
Well, it's not the exact same guy, but it's similar to that. Right. But so you can buy and sell from him. And then I think they said there's an action button where he can kick or punch. So I don't know how that's
Leon roundhouse kicks Resident Evil 4.
But But that would be kind of odd to see in first person.
Yeah,
but hopefully it's like a knife or something where you can attack it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm looking forward to the most at this point in time, for sure. Um, and whatever else comes. I mean, I don't believe God of War will come this year. I know you don't play God of War a lot, but
I love the last one, man.
yeah, it was really good. I don't. They're saying this year. I don't believe it, and that's fine because I'm tired of games coming out that aren't complete, like Cyberpunk. 'Cause that game was a travesty. I didn't even try it. Thank God. I wasn't that into it, anyways. But it didn't. I mean, I read a few reviews, and I was like, well, I'm gonna at least wait the next gen. And now the next gen's pushed out to like late this. I'll probably never buy it.
Yeah.
So
it didn't spark my interest.
Yeah, me neither. But if it would have had like a bunch of really, really good reviews, I probably would end up buying it like maybe on a sale for like 20, 30, $40. That's what my plan was. I expected it to get like amazing reviews, and then all the heat came out. The next gen's not as bad as the current gen. The current gen's literally broken. But at this point, dude, it'll be like maybe a boring rainy night when it's like sale for $10 in a couple of years. Maybe I'll buy it then, but just to see what it was and see if they ever really patched it up well. But anyways, man, go ahead.
3D World coming out Friday. So.
I can't pay $60 for a Mario game anymore, dude. It's sad to say, I never touch my Switch anymore. My son plays it way more, plays Mario and stuff, and it's even crossed my mind to trade it in. I won't because he loves it, but I sit there and I'll scroll through that eShop, and it's just literally, I can't. I'm like, I'll literally I'll go in there and be like, I'm buying something. I can walk away with nothing. It's just either indie titles. Nothing wrong with indie titles. Heard those a lot of great games. I mean, that's great. Not my thing. It's either indie titles, like mobile style throwaway games, or $60 Mario games. And I love Mario, dude, but I just cannot bring myself to pay $60, dude. I'm for any game really, but there are a few games I will, but I prefer Nintendo first party games now. It's just, I don't know, dude. I hate to say, I never thought I'd say it, but it's almost like I'm falling out of love with Nintendo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, not my son loves it though, so it's kind of maybe that's the thing now. Is like my son will. I mean, he plays a lot of PlayStation games. He'll tear up Spider-Man and stuff, but in Astro's Playroom. But so it's good. Keep it for him. Maybe buy him a Switch eventually, like the non-Joy-Con one, which seems like that's all they make now.
Yeah. So for sure, man, for sure.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't have anything else, so I think this was a pretty good first episode. Hopefully, some people out there find it and enjoy it. And if you did like what you've seen, please, like I said, click that like button, subscribe. We're gonna try to bring some kind of episode, hopefully about on a weekly basis. I'll probably have some random drop-ins if there's big breaking news and stuff. Just me, at least, I'll drop in and do a quick video discussing when the Bears are morons and trade for Carson Wentz, who, for all I know, it happened while I was on this call. Or obviously Deshaun Watson, stuff like that. But some random drop-ins. But yeah, it's a channel that's going to basically be about sports, video game, just two buddies talking. And if you're into it, please click the like button and subscribe, and hope to have more content on the way. All right. See you, buddy.
See you, man.